Hey guys, welcome to Crypto Seeds. In this video, we are going to discuss about one of the key project, which is solving one of the important problem in crypto industry. The problem it is solving is interoperability, and it is achieving interoperability in a different way. That is the first thing to be noted, and the second thing is it is bringing new use cases. So that is also very much important. It is bringing new use cases, and also it is making the cross-chain transfers and other stuffs pretty much easier compared to the normal cross-chain transfers like bridging and other stuffs. So this is one of the key project. It has important backers, and we are going to discuss about this particular project in detail because it's solving lots of important problems. So the before going to this particular video, if you are not following us on Twitter, follow us on Crypto Seeds, and our username is cryptoseeds_ofc. So now let's discuss about that particular project. The project name is Layer 0. So this is that particular project, and you can see over here seamlessly connected blockchains and Omnichain interoperability protocol. So Layer 0 is an Omnichain interoperability protocol. So that's a major thing. It will connect all the blockchains in a simple way, and it will make all the cross-chain transfers and other stuffs in a simpler way. So I will we can discuss one by one. First we can see who are investors, who are their backers. Then we'll be seeing what are the problems which is already in the crypto space in terms of cross-chain transfers and other stuffs. Then we will be seeing the structure of Layer 0, how it works, and what it is doing, how it is solving that interoperability problem in a simpler way. Then at last we'll be seeing the important use cases of this particular Layer 0. So how what are the use cases after Layer 0 will be implemented. So now let's see who are the backers. You can see backers are, we will be having important backers is Binance Labs. So this particular project is supported by Binance Lab. That is the key thing to be noted. And we have other investors also like Multicoin Capital, Sino Global Capital, and Definance Capital. We have Delphi Digitals, one of the core investors. So Robot Ventures and other investors are there, and I'm expecting more investors will board this particular project because of its use case and what it is solving. So and other angels are there like Polychain, Terra. So some of the angels from different projects are also there. So this is main about backers. Now let's discuss about the problems which is already there in the crypto industry in terms of cross-chain transfer. So in terms of cross-chain transfer or interoperability, there are two methods. So you can do cross-chain transfers, or you can do anything. You can do cross-chain messaging through two methods which is already there. The first method is by having a middle chain. So by having a middle chain, you can validate and forward messages between the chains. Or the second method is you'll be running a light node on chain. So there are two methods, but in these two methods there are drawbacks are there. In terms of middle chain, you can see the middle chain is granted full signing power to all the messages. So in order to in order for the cross chain transfer to happen, so who is validating the transaction is the middle chain is validating the transaction. So the whole signing power is assigned to that particular middle chain, which will create a single point of failure. So if middle chain fails, if middle chain is get hacked, this cross chain transfer and other stuffs will be exploited. So that is the main thing to be note. So this is the main thing to be note in terms of middle chain, and this is a main drawback. And the next thing is we'll be having, so this is the main drawback is security. In terms of middle chain, the main drawback is security. In terms of on-chain light node, it is secure way, but it is pretty much expensive. So on-chain light node is pretty much expensive, but it's a secure way. So there are two drawbacks. So now we are having another method which is ultra light node. So this is the key method. So ultra light node, what it is, it will be cheap, but at the same time it will be extremely secure. You can see On-chain light nodes are extremely secure, but also extremely on-chain light nodes are extremely secure but also extremely expensive. Middle chains are inexpensive but less secure. But in terms of ultra light node, the security of the light node with cost effectiveness of the middle chain. So this is a major thing. It is cheap but security is high. So that is the main advantage of ultra light node, because ultra light node, what it is doing is it will transfer the block header using the oracles. So it is using the decentralized oracles. So that's a major difference between other projects or other chains, because it is one of the key thing we will be seeing in terms of how it is transferring and how the transfer works. So we'll be seeing in that particular section. I will discuss about this later. So that's a major thing. So it is cost effective and secure. So before going into this architecture, how the layers of a blockchains are there. So you can see we will be having layer 0, layer 1 and layer 2. In terms of layer 0, layer 0 provides native direct communication between any other chain. So what is layer 0 is, it's a we can say it is a network layer, or it's like a communication layer. Then we'll be having layer 1 where Bitcoin, Ethereum will be there, which is the layer 1 smart contract platforms. Then we'll be having layer 2. Layer 2 is used for providing scalability. So that is how it works, and the layer 0 will be available at the bottommost layer. So that's a major thing about layer 0. And in terms of how it transfers the asset from one chain to another chain, so we'll be discussing about that one. So for that we have to use this particular image, which is very much easily understandable. So in terms of there are two ways you can do cross chain transfer. One is if I have Bitcoin, if I want to convert into ETH, which means if I want to if I want to transfer Bitcoin to Ethereum, which is into Ethereum chain, what I have to do is I can use centralized exchange. So I can deposit Bitcoin on centralized exchange. From there I can convert it into Ethereum, and then I can bring it to chain B. But this has trust issues, because you have to trust this particular centralized exchange, because centralized exchange gets hacked several times. So this is the key thing. In terms of decentralized exchange, in terms of DEXs, you need a intermediate chain. This is all about bridging. So we'll be having chain A, chain B, but you need an intermediate chain which will bridge the asset from chain A to chain B. So this is all about DEXs. But in terms of layer 0, and before going to layer 0, this also corresponds to Polkadot, because in terms of Polkadot, relay chain is a bridge, right? In terms of Polkadot, relay chain is a bridge, and the native token for that particular blockchain, for that particular bridge is DOT. So DOT is the native token, and DOT's relay chain is acting as a bridge, which is having several other blockchains. So chain A, we can say this is one parachain. For example, I'm saying this is one parachain, this is another parachain, but DOT's relay chain is the intermediate chain. So the transfers are happening through chain A to intermediate chain, then to chain B. So this is how the communication happening in terms of in terms of Polkadot and other chains. But in terms of layer 0, how it works is there is no need for intermediate chain, where layer 0 fabric works in a simpler way. You can see chain A, chain B. You can implement layer 0 on chain A, and also you can implement layer 0 on chain B. So you will be having the main thing you will be having is layer 0 endpoint. So we will be having layer 0 endpoint over here, and we will be saying having layer 0 endpoint over here. So by using the layer 0 endpoint, you can just transfer the asset without having any intermediary bridges, because layer 0 is endpoint is like a it's like a boilerplate code. So it is a set of codes that can be executed on different chains. This layer 0's endpoints code, that particular set of code can be implemented on Ethereum chain, and it can also be implemented on Cosmos, or it can also be implemented on Cardano and other most of the blockchains. So the chains which is having this particular layer 0 endpoints can communicate with each others. there is no need for the third intermediary chain. That is a major advantage of layer 0. So for example, if it is chain A, and chain A is Ethereum, and you can say chain B is for example, chain B is Bitcoin, you can transfer directly ETH to Bitcoin. If we have a cross-chain DEX, how the swap will be is I can directly swap Ethereum to Bitcoin. That's a major thing. No need to transfer, no need to bridge and other stuff. Directly you can transfer ETH to Bitcoin. So this is how layer 0 works, and this is the internal architecture. And you can see over here, chain A user application, chain A will have layer 0 endpoint. So this is the key thing each chain should have. So we should have layer 0 endpoint, that is a smart contract, and chain B having layer 0 endpoint. So this is a set of code that can be executed on each chains. So with this particular thing, you can directly transfer it. So we'll be having off chain, we'll be having Relayer, and which is independent of Oracle. So we'll be having two important things, which is Relayer and Oracle, which will transfer which will do the cross-chain transfer. And we will be having different stuffs that can be explained over here. You can see chain A is there, chain B is there, user application, and there are three components like communicator, validator, and networks. So network, what it will do is it will send the block header. So blockchains will have each blocks, and it will send the block header having that particular transaction to the Oracle actually. So in terms of layer 0, it is using Chainlink as a Oracle, and the main Oracle it is using is Chainlink. So network will send the block header to this particular Oracle, and it will be sent to this network. In terms of Relayer, it will be having the transaction proof. So block header means block header is the header name of the block containing the transaction. So that is the thing. So blockchain is in terms of blockchain will be having number of blocks. So each block will have a block header. So that block header will be sent to Oracle, and Relayer will be having the validator will send the transaction proof to the Relayer. So the Relayer will be having the transaction proofs. The chain A, from chain A you will be getting the proof. So the Relayer will be having the proof and Oracle, and you can see the Relayer is independent of Oracle. Both will be sent over here onto the chain B, where both will be compared in order to validate the transaction. So a transaction proof and the block header from the Oracle will be compared, and the transactions will be validated on chain B. So this is how it works, and it works in a simpler way. In terms of user experience, it is very much simple. You no need to do anything, just you can transfer between different chains in a single click. So that's a major thing. No need to do bridging, and no need to do no need to change other networks. You can just transfer it in a simpler way. So that is a major advantage of layer 0. So this is really great, and this is solving lots of important things. In terms of use cases, it is not only solving the normal use cases like only the cross-chain transfer. It is providing lots of use cases. That is what I was saying at the first. You can see you can have state sharing, bridging, lending and borrowing, swapping and governance, and much more. And we will be seeing we can see one by one. So state sharing means in a simpler way you can say SushiSwap exists on 12 different chains with each instance running in a siloed ecosystem. And if you see SushiSwap, if you go to CoinGecko and see, the SushiSwap will be available on multiple chains, but in terms of exchanges, it will be shown like this: SushiSwap bracket this chain. So SushiSwap exists on 12 different chains, but in a in a siloed ecosystem. If they want to sync state with their main Ethereum instance, they will have to write a code for using Wormhole, Rainbow Bridge, Polygon Network Bridge, Avalanche Bridge, etc. The end result is 11 set of codes with 11 unique interfaces and 11 different security properties. So this is the major thing. For example, if we are having a SushiSwap on Ethereum, if they want to build it on Polygon, or if they want to build it on Avalanche, so they need to implement lots of changes. They need to write 11 sets of codes, and they will be having 11 different securities, right? So there are different, if it is on Polygon network, it's totally different security. In on Avalanche, it's totally different security. So lots of these things are there. So that is a major concern over state sharing. Since the ecosystem of bridges and new L1 L2 is constantly in flux, this become unmanageable proportion. That's a major thing. While using layer 0, SushiShop would have one single interface and code base for all cross-chain pass, they only need to implement send and receive function. Send consists of forming a message for the destination chain, and receive simply interprets that particular message. So using layer 0, they no need to create these 11 sets of codes, and they no need to implement on each chains. Rather than that, they can just have to implement send and receive function. So by using that particular function, you can able to do cross chain transfers. So that is a major thing. And we are having another important property, which is unified liquidity bridge. So unified liquidity bridge, liquidity across all chain with guaranteed finality on the source chain. This means when a user transfers an asset from chain A to chain B, the user is guaranteed the asset on chain B, and the LP providers receive the fees from all the incoming transaction to chain B regardless of the source chain. So there is in terms of bridges today, compared to attract liquidity providers, fragmenting liquidity between bridges and their individual pairwise pools. Instead of having one pool that provide liquidity for an asset to all connected chains, LP must choose a single pool that connects one chain. So this is a major thing. Instead of having one pool that provides security for an asset to all connected chains, LP must choose a single pool that connects to one chain. But in terms of layer 0, what it is doing is it has a unified liquidity, so across all the chains. That's a major thing. It has a unified liquidity across all the chains. So that's a major thing. In terms of layer 0, it is having swap. So existing AMMs can be wrapped to perform cross-chain swap from one asset to another without the need to modify any existing code. Users will be able to swap from Ethereum to Solana in one single transaction from the source chain. That is the main thing. This is what I was mentioning about swapping. You can see in terms of cross-chain swap, there are lots of applications like multi-chain yield aggregator, multi-chain lending, so lots of things, but I will explain in a simpler way. This is explained in detail in the white paper. So you can see swapping means, in a simpler way, you can say you can swap from ETH to Solana in one single transaction from the source chain, which is if I have ETH on the Ethereum blockchain, if I want to transfer it to Solana in a single transaction, I can transfer it into Solana from the source chain. That's a major thing. It's a huge advantage because in terms of cross-chain transfer, the bridgings and other stuffs are hectic for the users, but this is pretty much simpler and faster. So that's a major thing. Then we have lending and borrowing. So this is a new use case where you can have the collateral on chain A, and you can able to borrow from chain B. That's a major thing. So currently, if your user has some money on chain A but wants to farm on chain B, the user would have to collateralize on chain A. So that's a major thing. So the user would have to collateralize on chain A, borrow, bridge, swap, farm on destination chain, and swap back, bridge back, repay the loan, and uncollateralize. So this is the normal technique that now we have to follow. If you want to borrow from chain B, you have to do these process, like you have to borrow, bridge, you have to borrow, you have to bridge, then you have to swap it, then you have to form on the destination chain, then you have to swap back to the existing chain. So these lots of hectic procedures are there. So in terms of layer 0, you can collateralize on chain A, borrow on destination chain, form, repay, and the collateral is unlocked, skipping for bridging and swapping fees. So that is a major thing. So it solves lots of important problems. So you can see in terms of multi-chain yield aggregator, so this is what mentioned over there. You can see yield aggregation that uses layer 0 for cross-chain transaction would allow for the strategies that tap into best opportunities across all ecosystem. In terms of yield aggregator, for example, we are having earn finance. So earn finance is a yield aggregator, but on Ethereum blockchain. So it is on a single blockchain. But in terms of layer 0, you can get the best yield strategies from across all the ecosystem. Increases the access to high yield opportunities and enabling users to take advantage of the market inefficiency. So multi-chain yield aggregating is there, so which is a key thing. So that's the major thing to be discussed. You can see over here, this is what multi-chain lending, this is what we have discussed over there. You can see, for example, suppose user asset consolidated in ETH want to take advantage of opportunity on Polygon. Their choices is there, move their entire asset based on another chain. So these are the things, lend their assets. Plus lending protocol users keep the entire asset base in place on Ethereum, lend it out, and then borrow directly in Matic on Polygon. This alienates. So this is the major thing. No need to do all these things. So if you have ETH on Ethereum chain, and if you see an if you want to take an advantage of an opportunity on Polygon, if you have a borrowing, if you want to borrow on Polygon, normal method, you have to transfer the collateral asset to Polygon, and lots of things you have to do. You have to convert it into their desired currency. Then you have to lend their asset on Ethereum and borrow the desired asset. So there are lots of process. But in terms of multi-chain, but in terms of layer 0, nothing. So you have to keep you can keep your Ethereum in the chain A. At the same time, you can lend it out or borrow directly in Matic on Polygon. So that's a major thing. So this will solve lots of things. That's a major thing about this particular project. So you can see it is solving multi-chain lending, which is a key thing. And at the same time, multi-chain yield aggregator, we have cross-chain dexes, but in a simpler way. So there are different methods like cross-chain transfer, everything is there, but it need a bridge and other stuffs are there. But in a simpler way, we can solve these all problems: swaps, lending, borrowing, and multi-chain yield aggregator. And you will be seeing other future application coming soon. So that's a major thing, one of the key project to look on the layer 0. It's a new concept. That's a major thing. It's a new concept, and it is using Chainlink as a oracle actually. So one of the key project to look on. So that is why I have created this particular video, and this video will be a little bit lengthy because I have explained more about layer 0 network. We have seen different things, how it works and what are the advantages. So that's all for this video. Please like, share and subscribe to Crypto Seeds for further updates about important projects.